Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of What If It Could Come Back, and we will be discussing The Invaders, a 1967 sci-fi show that ran 43 episodes, 2 seasons. That came out in 1967, created by Larry Cohen, produced by Quinn Martin, and the music done by Dominic Frontier. It was basically taken from The Fugitive, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and sort of jumble it all around and you get The Invaders. David Vincent is a man with a cause who one night saw a UFO land out on the back roads of America, where he stopped. He wanted a coffee, early hours at morning, no sleep, and he saw the Invaders saucer land, and after that he tried to prove that they existed in the world, and every week he foils their schemes and plots. And the sheer paranoia of this show was wonderful. It's got you on the edge. Even the human drama was a bit funny about it. Sort of goes well now when you watch it. But Roy Finnis played his part marvellously. You do really feel for David Vincent, but of course there was plot holes. So where I'm going with this is, what if this came back in 2022 and Netflix or Amazon made this and financed it, and how would it work? So I would have it down to the same premise. David Vincent is an architect. I'd say we're married. He's got a family. He's been working away. He's on his way home. He's going somewhere. The same events happen. He stops off somewhere in the Nevada desert, somewhere in the back of nowhere. He wants a coffee. He's fallen asleep. He's been travelling for hours. The diner's closed, and then he sees the saucer, and he sees the truck pull up. He's watching. They don't see him. See a truck pull up, and invader aliens getting off the saucer and getting in the truck, and equipment being loaded onto it, and they go off. Then he goes to the sheriff in the town the next day, and nobody believes him. And there's some people in the town, getting in his way. And from that moment on, this is where I would bring this in. This is where we start, so we go to season 1. So because it's the internet and all this, he starts going into it all, and he starts making connections, and his wife won't believe him, friends, everybody thinks, if you see another spaceship, and he ends up going out to some town somewhere where he's read something on the internet. And there's like a nerd guy there, computer guy. I know we're going first wave, but he meets this computer guy who's been tracking him, and they both get involved, and he stops this thing where they're going to take over this town and brainwash the population. You start with like basic episodes, and he gets involved. He stops them, but in retaliation, the aliens kill his family in an accident. They don't frame him for murder, they kill his family. And this sets him off on the crusade. And here goes season 1. So he's running around America and all these little places out of the way, and some in the city. He meets people, he gets involved. But for him, it's a crusade. They killed his family, and it's a big thing. And he's just been... I'd have him where he's brutal with them, killing them, shooting them. But nobody's believing him. And we start building through first season, and he gets to like one of the alien installations, and they've set a trap for him because he's now got on their radar. They've noticed him, and it's an oil refinery where, how they have the secret things inside tankers and all that. They've got a base inside a refinery, and they're doing experiments on the workers there. They're all, And he turns up and saves them. He saves everybody and kills the aliens, self-destruct their installation. But he's got, allies now. Some people believe him. But then again, he just drives off on his own. So we're getting towards the end of season 1. He's like this man. He's lost his job. He's got an ally who's into the conspiracy sites and all that, who gives him information where the aliens are. Or, reports of weird things, people glowing red and all this. And then we get into season 2. And after the big sort of battle at this like old refinery, he starts going further into it. Now it gets like he meets an alien who is against the invasion. And in this series, like in season 2 of 12 episodes, you find a bit out about them. You find out that their star's going nova, and they're a race of infiltrators, and this is what they do. Their world was attacked, or they've caused a lot of trouble out in space, and they've been around. At one time, they were quite a powerful race, but like they're coming to end of the time, so they, instead of like infiltrating a more advanced society, they've come to Earth because we're hidden out of the way. And that's the plan. They're going to create us into a slave race, but they're going to wipe out 90% of the human population to make it viable for them to like rule. They also want to alter our planet's environment. Now, the banking crisis and say like, how do you say it? A certain pandemic and things like this, like a volcano going off or an earthquake, it's them. They're doing this. And there's a scheme. And there's a scheme where they've got this like antimatter satellite in orbit, and they want to, it's a big project. Now they've got a few, but while this is going on, they've got this thing about putting this radiation into atmosphere to slowly kill the human race off without people being suspicious. And what they want to do is like it's over time, but then their star goes nova unexpectedly because it's going, and that's it. We go to season 3. Vincent thwarts the satellite plot. This is going for quite a lot of episodes. He thwarts this sort of conspiracy. But by the end of season 2, we find out their star's gone nova, and the female alien, it sort of like helps them in 1 or 2 episodes. She's absolutely distraught because she's got feelings. Now, I would have the aliens the same. There isn't that much I would alter from the original series. I'd just cover more of the plot holes in this. But while all this is going on, somebody's been watching him in a car. Somebody's been like following him. You've seen this person over second season. He's just been watched. He's on his mobile, sunglasses, and he watches him. And at the end of season 2, after they stopped the plot, what happens is some people kidnap Vincent, and he wakes up in this room in season 3, and we meet Edgar Scoville of Scoville Industries. In come the Believers. Now, Edgar Scoville's a weapons manufacturer and like a computer tech genius. And I suppose he could run like a SpaceX company. The Invaders infiltrated his corporation, and he obviously came across them and stopped what they were doing. And he brings Vincent in. Now, Scoville's got his own agenda as well, because part of they want to get hold of alien technology. Now, because the Invaders are not just in America, they're all over the world. And with Scoville's connections and Vincent's conviction, they find other resistors against them. Now, I'd have it where certain secret intelligence agencies, certain agents have come across them, because the Invaders, they're like an organisation buried deep within our society. And with their star going supernova, they're desperate now. This is it. They've upped their agenda, but they're limited. They've only got a few ships left. There's a few 100,000 of them on our planet. But the thing is, there's nowhere for them to go. They have the ships, and they have a big installation hidden away. And one of the saucers comes down in the 3rd season, and it ends up in Area 51. And the Invaders assault Area 51 to get the saucer back. But it's a failed invasion. And this is where it suddenly starts alerting the authorities to what's going on. So they pull back. But the Invaders have this big, massive plan. They're going to create this environmental disaster. And they're going to call it Project Aftershock. And like we move into end at third season, we get like a picture of aftershock of the alien leadership. Their world's gone. You know, they've got a base on the moon where they're bringing people in and out. But apart from that, they're gone. They're stuck here with us. Now, Vincent is like getting certain people, influential people with Scoville, to, how do you say, react to what's going on. So with Project Aftershock, this is all theoretical. I'd have like each season to be like, we really get into the agenda. There's a global movement of resistors now, even though the general public, it's a secret war basically being fought in the background in the shadows with these invaders. Now they attempt to get like a vice president in and then assassinate the president, and it's schemes like that. They've got these insane schemes about taking over media, banking, and the rest of it, and it's really, you could get like the whole Illuminati thing, you know, going with them. But there is help from a certain faction of aliens that they believe that they'd like to live in peace because their race is dying. They've got nowhere to go, but they are desperate. But they believe, well, they are superior to us, the technology is, but they've got no feeling except these like few that are sort of passing us information. But Vincent is just vengeance and this force that drives him. The aliens now see him as a martyr. There's a couple of attempts where they actually tried to catch him. We do get, in season 4, we get hold of some of their technology. We get hold of the vaporizer. And we get hold of it. And now the sorcery in Area 51 did get destroyed. Even though they lost the assault, they managed to destroy it. But there were bits, crucial bits taken off, end up at Scoville Industries. And they've been able to adapt a certain system to detect the aliens' presence. So then we get into season 5, and I don't know, I'd say there's a big fallout with Scoville because he wants to monopolise the alien technology, which he does have a point, you know, because they've managed to acquire certain parts of it. Now the invaders are getting very desperate because Project Aftershock is still on. They've got like a backup plan with it. And Vincent says the only way we're going to stop them, we have to expose them to the world now. So I'd have a couple of episodes where they come into the mafia, criminal organisation, like in the Invaders episode. And something happens where they try to take it. Because of the supply lines, there's things they want to move stuff about, you know. And Vincent gets involved with the mafia boss, who sort of like thinks, well, you know, this ain't right. These beans need to be stopped. And they all suddenly start knocking out the regeneration stations right across the world. Because this is now grown, there's a lot of resistors, and you're building this up over 5 years. And Vincent they've got the full on now, the full evidence of it all, enough to make it credible. Because when there is an episode where they does try to release it, but nobody believes him. They all just think it's like another internet conspiracy. So it's exposed to the world now, all this, like, and the invaders are trapped. People are just turning left, right, and centre. And we've also invented a system where we know where they are. So you know when they're infiltrating this device, and we took it from their technology. But this would all be over 5 years. It won't happen straight away. Would it be an happy ending? I'd have Vincent where he is victorious, with some of the aliens living on Earth. The others either pull out and go into space to die, or they try and go somewhere else. But there's not a lot of them left. And some tried to make a life, but they have caused you see, there was, with these environmental disasters and certain things, they've killed a lot of our people. So it's not that simple. I bring the episode Beachhead into it as well, where there's the incident at NORAD, and they launch all the fighters and that, you know, interceptors to sort of, like, the general there sort of believes Vincent, because it's just impossible, because some of the pilots see them. And I'd really go into the whole thing. There's like a battle group somewhere, and one of the saucers fires on it from a distance and destroys the warship. I'd really go into it a bit like UFO. You know, I'd take it down that path. But Vincent leads the war, and him and Scoville at each other's throats quite a lot, but there's a respect for each other. Now, I think there is a lot of potential. That's just me, where I think I'd take this. And obviously there's a lot more to go on, because you've got to write it and all that. But that's just like the basic sort of agenda of it all. But what I would do, this is like, yesterday I covered Blake 7, which I think should be remade. Now, could this be continued, like, you could call it the Vincent Journals? Say it's another character instead of David Vincent. He died, their star went supernova, and now they're trapped on Earth trying to take over. And instead it's a continuation, but like Vincent's an old man now, and he's gone into hiding, but somebody gets his journal. Or do we go for a reboot? I personally think now, with today and the internet and the X-Files and all that and all this, what's going on, I think that it should be a reboot. I mean, it would have been, I'd say, about 25 years ago. You could have probably continued it 20 odd years later, but I think in that time, with their technology, the aliens or the invaders would have done a lot of damage by that time. So it's an open book. I'd go for something new, fresh start. I'd have Scoville, definitely David Vincent, the alien leaders. I mean, you could even bring a third race into it. Another alien, a benevolent alien crashes on Earth, you know. I'd really open this up, and that alien could be trapped at Area 51. The invaders don't want that alien here. I know, I feel like I'm talking about War of the Worlds end of season 1, but I suppose there is a lot like First Wave, like when he makes this computer genius. I think you got to have that in this world, because if it's going to be internet based, he's getting all his information. Whereas in the original series, a lot of people say, how does he know about that? Because I mean, there were newspapers and stuff like that. But how did he know? Where did he get his information from? So with today and the paranoia, I do like the concept that they attack Area 51 to get something back at theirs. That fascinates me. But this Project Aftershock with the antimatter satellite, they're going to release this thing into atmosphere. That'd be interesting. So let me know your thoughts on where you would like the invaders to go. And this is, I think it's worthy of coming back. So please give this channel a like, please subscribe, and the next episode will be UFO. And live long and prosper and stay safe.